Hello, folks. This is another edition of my show, the Story Doll Show. I'm coming live from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, where the current temperature is about 3 degrees, mostly cloudy skies, and good visibility at 24 kilometers an hour. And the winds are out of the northeast at about 11 kilometers an hour. And it looks like by the looks of things, it looks like it's shaping out to be a nice weekend temperature wise and weather wise this weekend. What else? Now I'm just gonna get ready into my show. As you all probably know, this Friday, November the 4th, will mark, I believe it's 37, 30, it'll be the 37th anniversary of the Iranian, since the Iranian Islamic Revolution. Basically, in other words, I'm going to explain it to you guys that may or may not uh, under, understand that may not uh, understand it in that. So I'm gonna give you a little background so you obviously know what I'm talking about. The Iran hostage crisis was a diplomatic crisis between Iran and the United States. 52 American diplomats and citizens were held hostage for 444 days, basically from November 4th, 1979 to January 20th, 1981, after a group of Iranian students belonging to the Muslim student followers of the Imam's line, sorry for the mispronunciation, who supported the Iranian Revolution, took over the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. The crisis was described by the Western media as an in entanglement of vengeance and mutual incomprehension. And sorry for the mispronunciation ahead of time, folks. President Jimmy Carter called the hostages victims of terrorism and anarchy and said the United States will not yield to blackmail. In Iran, it was widely seen as a blow against the United States and its influence in Iran. It includes the pre pre prefected, sorry for the mispronunciation, attempts to undermine the Iranian Revolution and its long-standing support for the overthrown Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza. I'm not gonna pronounce his last name because it's really hard to pronounce. Who led an autocratic regime. After his overthrow in 1979, the Shah, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, and sorry for the mispronunciation, was producedly admitted to the United States for cancer treatment. Iran demanded that he be returned to stand trial for crimes he accused of committing during his regime. Specifically, um, Pahlavi, sorry for the mispronunciation, folks, was accused of committing crimes against Iranian citizens with the help of the secret police, the Sapka. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation, but if it's not, I'm sorry, folks. Iranians saw the decision to grant him asylum as American complacency in those atrocities. The Americans saw the hostage taking as an sorry for the mispronunciation, violation of principles of international law, which granted diplomats immunity from arrest and made diplomatic compounds inviolable. Sorry for the mispronunciation. The crisis reached a climax when, after failed efforts to negotiate the hostages' release, the United States military attempted a rescue operation using ships including the USS Nimitz and the USS Coral Sea that were patrolling the waters near Iran. On April 24th, 1980, the attempt was known as Operation Eagle Claw, failed, resulting in the deaths of 8 U.S. servicemen and 1 Iranian citizen, as well as the destruction of 2 aircraft. Um, Shah Shah Pahlavi, sorry for the mispronunciation, left the United States in December 1979 and was ultimately granted asylum in Egypt, when he died from complications of cancer on July 27, 1980. In September 1980, the Iraqi military invaded Iran, beginning the Iran-Iraq War. These events led to the Iranian government to enter negotiations with the United States, with Algeria acting as the mediator. The hostages were formally released into United States custody the day after signing the Algiers Accords, just minutes after the new American President Ronald Reagan was sworn into office. The crisis is considered as a pivotal episode in the history of Iran-United States relations. Political analysts see it as a major factor in the trajectory, sorry for the mispronunciation, of Jimmy Carter's presidency and he lost the 1980 presidential election. In Iran, the crisis strengthened the prestige of Allah. Oh, I can't pronounce his name correctly. And the political power of the autocrats who opposed any normalization of relations with the West. The crisis also led to the United States economic sanctions against Iran, further weakening ties between the two countries. So, as you could probably tell, this was, a pretty big, you know, you know, yeah, pretty big. It was a pretty big event. That's why, I wanted to kind of explain how what how the I wanted to explain, how the Iranian crisis came about, how it was resolved and stuff like that. Because this coming Friday, it'll mark 37 years since the Iranian crisis began, when, like I said, 52 U.S. diplomats and citizens were taken hostage and were held captive for 444 days from November 4th, 1979 to January 20th, 1980. So pretty much all over the country, pretty much all over Iran, people are commemorating the 37 years since the Iran's Islamic Revolution, and thousands are rallying across the country, and ceremonies will also be held around the world and stuff. Uh, like, and it's really hard, like, for people, it's really hard to believe, to really, grasp, the significance of what happened, because because for the simple fact that, it was a pretty pivotal moment in I think in history. Oh, what else? Here's another news article. This is from CBC News. It's a political article. This is titled "Justin Trudeau names six new senators from Quebec as independents becoming the largest bloc." Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has filled all remaining vacancies in the Senate with six new appointments from Quebec, meaning independents now have per sorry for the mispronunciation, in the Red Chamber for the first time in the country's history. Trudeau has appointed 20% of all seating senators in only a matter of months. Former Prime Minister Stephen Harper let vacancies accumulate while the chamber was rocked by scandal and police investigations. The current count of non-affiliated or independent senators stands at 44. There are 21 independent Senate Liberals and 40 Conservatives. While the non-affiliated senators are soon formally, formally have more members than those of the partisan caucuses. They have so far been shut out of key positions of power. Some say that they had trouble getting seats on committees and their research budgets remain constrained because they are not a part of the not part of formally recognized grouping. Each independent each independent senator has a research budget of only $7,000, while members of the Senate Liberal Caucus have 1.6 million, which translates roughly into $50,000 for each of the 21 senators. Senator Peter Harder, the government's representative in the Senate, has said this disparity must be corrected to ensure the equality of all seating senators. In January 2014, at the height of Mike Duffy's expense fiasco, Trudeau expelled all senators from the National Liberal Caucus and vowed to appoint independent members to the Senate if elected as Prime Minister. Thus, all the new senators were elected using the government's new application meter-based process. They are Rene Dupuis, a lawyer, Rene Dupuis, sorry for the mispronunciation, the last name ahead of time, specializes in fields of administrative law, human rights, and indigenous law, according to biographies sent out by the Prime Minister's office. She has been a legal advisor and consultant for First Nations and their regional and national organizations in negotiating comprehensive land claims and conciliate negotiations. She's chaired the Indian Specific Claims Commission, a federal commission of inquiry, and the Bureau de Quebec's Committee on the Rights of Aboriginal Peoples. And yeah, so yeah, as you could probably say, she's just one of the new six senators from Quebec. But as you could probably tell, a lot has changed, since Stephen Harper was ousted from power in the last election. What else? This article I'm going to read to you. This is about the U.S. election for you people that do not know it. It's fast approaching, and that we started. Oh, Mr. Obama's remarks have our first public comments since Mr. Comey's announcement on Friday that the FBI had discovered a new batch of emails that may or may not be relevant to an earlier closed investigation into Democratic presidential candidate Mrs. Clinton's handling of classified information. We have made a deliberate effort to make sure that I don't look like I'm meddling, Mr. Obama said in an interview with the website Now This Is New. But he added, I don't think there is a norm when there are investigations. We don't operate in an sorry for the mispronunciation. We don't operate on incomplete information. We don't operate on leaks. We operate based on concrete decisions that are made. When this is investigated thoroughly the last time, the conclusion of the FBI, the conclusion of the Justice Department, the conclusion of the repeated congressional investigations that she has made some mistakes, but there wasn't anything that was prosecutable. And as you people probably already know, Hillary Clinton is leading in the polls right now. But both the campaigns, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are riding in high gear. You know what I mean, type of thing. What else? I'll just continue the article. Later on Wednesday, at a rally in North Carolina, President Obama urged Democrats of all ethnic backgrounds to get out and vote for Mrs. Clinton. He said she said her he said her Republican opponent Donald Trump was a threat to hard-earned civil rights, the country, and the world. The fate of the republic rests on your shoulders, Obama told the rally. The fate of the world is tearing, and you, North Carolina, are going to have to make sure that we push it in the right direction. I am not on the ballot, but I tell you that fairness on the ballot, decency on the ballot, justice is on the ballot, progress is on the ballot, our democracy is on the ballot. Emerged in 2015 that Mrs. Clinton has been breaking federal rules by operating a private email server while she was Secretary of State from 2009 to 2013. Her lawyers combed the server and provided the State Department with 30,000 work-related emails, and her campaign deleted another 33,000 emails saying they are personal in nature. Mr. Comey concluded in July that Mrs. Clinton has been extremely careless in handling classified information, but there are no grounds for any charges. The latest emails were found in a separate investigation into allegations that former Congressman Anthony Weiner sent illicit text messages to a 15-year-old girl in Carolina. What kind of bloody person would do such a thing like that? You get the point of what I'm saying? Mr. Weiner is married to one of Mrs. Clinton's closest aides, Humed Abedin. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but sorry for that. The FBI has reportedly obtained a warrant to search the cache of the emails belonging to Mrs. Eben. Sorry for the mispronunciation if I pronounced it incorrectly, which were believed to have been found in her estranged husband's laptop. There are reportedly 650,000 emails to search through on the laptop, but it's unclear who sent or received the emails and what they are about. Mr. Conley and Attorney General Loretta Lynch have said they are working quickly to sift through the newly discovered emails. Democrats have angrily demanded that the embattled Mr. Conley rapidly make public what agency that knows about the new email trove. On Sunday, the Democratic leader in the U.S. Senate, Harry Reid, accused Mr. Comey of violating an act which bars officials from influencing an election by revealing the bureau was investigating emails possibly linked to Mrs. Clinton. But so as you could tell, this U.S. election is really starting like really starting to you know you know basically come to a climax if you get what I'm saying. Sorry for that, folks. Anyways, oh, what else? Oh, just wait a minute, folks, while all this loads up. I'm gonna read you guys another article. This time it is from CTV News Winnipeg. It is titled "Volunteers Search Red River for Missing Winnipeg Woman." A Winnipeg man has sought help the community volunteers to search the Red River for his wife, who has been missing since Sunday. Like, uh, see, so, oh, Podgy, I can't pronounce his name, but correctly. He, he said his wife Maggie Lou, 32, disappeared in the evening without her cell phone, wallet, or passport. Volunteers uh, from the Red River Bear Clan Patrol began their search of the water on Wednesday in a canoe. So like, oh, what was I gonna say? She's experienced depression, he explained, but was never officially diagnosed with mental health issue and is not on any medication. So yeah, you can imagine how hard it is when stuff like this happens type of thing. It's very basically it's very traumatic. For people that have to go through this type of thing. Just hang on a second, folks, while this loads. Oh, this is from CTV Winnipeg. Also, it's out of person in custody after stabbing in the West End. The Winnipeg Police Service confirms the person is in custody in connection with a stabbing at a West End apartment block on Tuesday. Police say an injured man was taken to hospital from the apartment block at Sherbrooke Street and Port Avenue, and is now in stable condition, a police spokesman said. Police officers were has seen surrounding the apartment building at 6 p.m. For a short time, the residents were not allowed to exit or enter the building as police taped off the front doors. So yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, like I've said before in my last episode of my YouTube channel, Stuart Dahl Show. I'm very busy during this time of the year. The fall, winter months, because I have all my sports: swimming, bowling, curling, and I start back to wrestling next Tuesday. So I'm gonna try to make as many videos as I possibly can. When I'm not busy. But if I don't make as many videos in that, I apologize ahead of time. But I'll try to make some, when I'm not busy type of thing. That will be, you know, my subscribers on YouTube, understand that type of thing. You guys will all you guys probably have busy lives type of thing. You know what I mean? Here's another article. This is titled from CTB Winnipeg. It's titled Conclu- Conciliation Talks Begin Between U of M and the Facility Association. The University of Manitoba said a conciliation talks began Wednesday between the university and its facility faculty association in an effort to reach an agreement. Classes at the university came to a halt for most students Tuesday after the faculty went on strike and began to picket. About 29,000 students are affected. The work stoppage came after the University of Manitoba and the union representing the faculty members reached an impasse in mediation talks over the weekend. The university called on the province to appoint a conciliator to resolve outstanding issues with the University of Manitoba Faculty Association. The UMFA represents about 1,200 professors, instructors, and librarians. So yeah, I can understand the student's point of view. It's really it's a real inconvenience, and how do we really put it nicely in any arts type of thing, and that for some of the for for some of the students that take classes there. Oh, pardon me. Oh, sorry for that, folks. Oh, what else? Other than that, I'm just pretty much um, I'm just chilling at home tonight, relaxing. Tomorrow I have another busy day, but next week is gonna Tuesdays and Thursdays are gonna be my busy days of the week because I go to work and then I start back to wrestling Tuesday. And Thursdays are busy for me too because I have to come home, get changed, and then have something quick to eat around 4 o'clock and then leave because I have to take the bus, to and from swimming. And it's not a big deal. I'm used to long commute to that. Here's another article. This is also from CTV News Winnipeg. It's titled "Chronic Condition Leaves Winnipeg Woman Homeless." A Winnipeg woman is abandoned her home and is trying to manage her controversial sensitivity condition. Mary LeBlanc, 51, lives with multiple chemical sensitivity. The condition makes her confused and causes her to be extremely sensitive to the environment around her. LeBlanc reacts to mold, perfumes, pesticides, and other chemicals which people tolerate uh, without adverse effects. Wearing a protective suit with gloves and a breathing mask with the only way LeBlanc is now willing to step in to her apartment. The suit helps stop her reactions. After living in her apartment for 3 years, she's moving out into Sudden and doesn't have a permanent place to go. It is frustrating because I feel I'm running into barriers everywhere I go. It is like nobody wants to do. Not everyone with MCS reacts the same way. Robert Dixon, clinic team lead with the Integrated Chronic Care Services in Nova Scotia, said MCS is a chronic condition impacting 3% of Canadians. He said it's generally seen between the ages of 30 to 50. Symptoms can in, include dizziness, nausea, congestive problems such as memory loss, headaches, and breathing problems. Dixon also says many patients coping with extreme sensitivities tend to face financial and housing hardships with little community help. Um, I meant community support in the last sentence. Uh, Dixon says MCS is not recognized by the World Health Organization or on several parts of Canada as a medical condition. Uh, the big reason that's why controversial it is because there's little evidence that it can support diagnosis, he said. So yeah, as you probably all you guys probably already heard this particular story I was just talking to you about on CTV News I believe yesterday. What else? Uh, just hang on a sec, folks, while this moves. As you all probably know, this is the last week of the CFL season. Week 20 kicks off on this Friday, November 4th, with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers taking on the Ottawa Red Blacks at 6 p.m. And then on Saturday, um, there is a triple header. First, it'll be, excuse me, folks, will be the Montreal Alouettes versus the Hamilton Tiger at noon. And then at 3 p.m., it'll be the Toronto Argonauts taking on the Edmonton Eskimos. And to cap off the last week of the season and of the triple header, it'll be the Saskatchewan Roughriders taking on the BC Lions at 6 p.m. And just hang on a sec, folks. What was I going to say? Oh, there we go. Just another second, folks. And the standings as it stands right now. Um, let's the following teams in the CFL West Division have playoff spots. There's BC, Winnipeg, Edmonton, and then Calgary has clinched the West Division title. And then in the East, it is Hamilton, and then Ottawa has clinched the division yet. I don't know about Montreal and Toronto yet. And then also, what was it? Edmonton has the crossover, and then the following teams are out of the playoffs are Montreal, Toronto, and Saskatchewan. Obviously, Saskatchewan can have a pretty shitty record this year. And what was I saying? Well, folks, this ends another episode of my show, Stuart Doll Show. I'm signing off for now. So for you young people, stay in school, stay out of trouble, and you'll do perfectly fine. And sorry for that, folks. But for young people, just stay in school, stay out of trouble, and you'll do fine. And for now, I'll be the same. Bye bye, and just stay